Hello again, and welcome to SCLC TV. I'm Maynard Eaton, your host, and of course, our president and CEO of SCLC, Dr. Charles Steele Jr. Dr. Steele, as you well know, is a civil rights leader. The whole country seemingly is angered, outraged over this fatal shooting of Ahmaud Arbery. Your thoughts?
Well, Mr. Arbery, being the type of person that even myself happen to be, I take jogs and used to run, but I mostly walk now. And my family, my wife and one of my daughters take a lot of interest in that, and we do it as a family sometimes. But I'm a regular walker. And what we always say, man, and I'm going to keep saying it, I don't care if folks get tired of hearing me saying it, racism, poverty, and militaristic, all three are the ills in society. I've gotten calls from all over the country where people want to come in and work with SCLC in regards to this incident, this terrible act of racism. And it's no different than COVID-19. Racism is a virus. And when you get the information from reliable sources that the father, a former police officer himself, and his son, I understand, actually worked in the capacity of an assistant role in another county adjacent to the South Georgia connected that had brought about this problem, Glenn County in Brunswick, actually work in another county out of the DA's office and in another county. And what is so insulting to this, there was another officer or official of the police department that actually blocked off the road. That's where the video came from. This officer blocked the road because they contemplated on killing this young man. Blocked the road, and he was there videoing. This was a police officer. And it's a thing that I know is within the law, prima facie. Actually say if you have evidence of a crime and you know it's factual and you can prove it, you can arrest an individual, even citizen arrest. Go ahead.
We've talked about Black Lives Matters in the past. We've talked about civil rights activities years past. Does this mean, as you often say, the more things change, the more they remain the same?
Absolutely. The more things change, the more they remain the same. I heard someone say on TV recently in regards to being in the public's eye that reason many people who can help with influence, black, white, green, or blue, that's in position, non-lawful position, everyday business people, entertainers, athletes, and others, even politicians, that when they have popularity and when they are popular with the people, you're not going to see them coming around when there's a controversy. What am I saying? When all of the fluff and everything else goes, we are still the Marines. You have the Air Force, the Army, the Navy, and the Marines. We get dirty. We're the first to hit the beach. So with all that other fluff you hear about, they gonna fly by night. But guess what? We are authentic, and we're gonna be here. I've had a philosophy, man, that good projects, good causes, good-heartedness bring about a successful movement with good people. You don't have to have a certain organization other than the leadership of the organization that's leading the charge. Not for publicity, not to grandstand, but from the goodness of their heart to bring about justice and equality. As Dr. King says, silence in the face of evil is evil itself. And if you
And
go
that's
have a
the
march, huh?
You
I
think
didn't hear
this
you.
shooting, you think this shooting is pure evil, and SCLC is doing something about it.
And many people know about it. That should have come to the forefront. Silence in the face of evil is evil itself. It was being circulated among the law so-called officials who's to protect the community. Within the culture of law enforcement in that county, in that city, and surrounding, they were sharing this video. How stupid was that if you're trying to hide something? So evidently, somebody within that culture of police work and the working of police officers had a conscience, and it was over the racism that they were projecting and bragging about. I'm proud of my son who killed that in person. That was being circulated within the venue of law enforcement in that jurisdiction. So, for those who were not supportive in doing the right thing, silence in the face of evil is evil itself, knowing you got the facts. Those same folks are accessory to a murder. And we want the whole system shut down.
What can be done? What should be done in your eyes?
Very good question. I have the 6 principles of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. And people all over the world call Dr. Lafayette and Charles Alpin and myself to teach those principles. The first 2, man, gather information. You don't see us out there just charging to have a march. And then after you march, what you gonna do then? You got to have factual information. We're gathering the information. What do you do with the information after you get it? Glad you asked. You educate the people. Number 3, you make a personal commitment. Number 4, you negotiate and go in and talk about the situation. Number 5, you actually get involved with direct action. That's number 5. So we are 4 steps away to doing what we ultimately might have to do. That's direct action, number 5. You don't do that from the get-go. You don't do that from day one. And that will be the biggest direct action you will ever see. People from all over the world will come. But you got to know the process. We are the authentic civil rights organization. Good example, man, you was with me. We had a march in Selma back the first week in March or so. And what actually happened was that it was a great turnout. Roughly, and you were there.
Yes.
I'm not off base too much. In my projection, it would have been 600,000 people. Easily, 500 to 600,000. And in doing so, everybody was all motivated, shouting, going on. We here, we gonna do this march. But it was ceremonious. It was to get out front and to be seen. What am I saying? That next day, SCLC with my leadership led a march from Selma to Montgomery with these old feet I got. I've been on a many marches. And they were hurting. But I still marched 54 miles from Selma to Montgomery. 54 miles. And guess how many folks showed up on that Monday to march with us? 22 people. From 600,000 one day in 24 hours to 20 people. Because there were no cameras. There was no publicity. And people have to stop moving on grandstanding and want to be famous and popular. I heard someone say the other day, even though I'm in a position, I have a lot of popularity. I don't deal with the controversy of what you do, Steele. I can't do that. I lose my popularity. What is greater, to be popular and the rest of the people going hungry, eating out of garbage can, can't provide for themselves, have no jobs, and you still talking about your popularity? Sound like what's coming out of the White House to me right now, and it's killing folks. It's killing folks because I'm talking about my popularity. You have to be talking about people surviving and making a decent living and being able to conduct a livelihood for their family and to be able to have affordable health care. Let me share something with you personally. Excuse the personal reference, but I got to share it. I just told Mr. Eden that I have shingles for the next 7 to 10 days. And I respect that. I'm taking care of my health. But I have shingles, just discovered with shingles on yesterday. I went into the doctor's office. They were glad to see me. The first thing they said after say, "How you doing?" "Oh, we're glad to see you." "Where's your insurance policy?"
That's right.
I showed them my true story just 24 hours ago. I showed them my insurance policy. She looked at it, smiled. She said, "Charles, you know you and we love you." Say, "But we don't accept this."
Oh, wow.
Because I was out of town. Because the other doctors, I was in my home state. I wasn't in Atlanta. I had to go there for a reason. And then that's when I discovered something was wrong. I went to some doctors, friends of mine, and knowing that I got the proper insurance. They said, "Oh, this is great insurance, but our company don't accept it." I said, "No problem." I went in, I said, "Lord, I hope my wife paid this credit card bill last month," because I hadn't checked it. And I took out my credit card, and guess what? My wife had paid the bill. So they saw me because I had a credit card that cleared.
Right.
Anyone who was not as blessed or fortunate as I was for that period of time, for this month, with the credit card being paid up, I don't know about next month. How many people that we know couldn't afford to pay out of their pocket? I had to pay out of my pocket, even though I have insurance. They didn't care. They were not going to see me, even though they said they love me. So my concern is we have too many folks talking, but they're not addressing the problem and collaborating with each other. This is what we do on a daily basis, and we're not out to get the glamorization of what we do. We're out to resolve the issues and the problems. And let me tell you this, we are doing it without a headline.
Speaking of headlines and people's health, headlines been made about the president's decision to open up the economy, open up the states, get the economy rolling again, even in the face of predictions that more people will die from this pandemic. Are we at a point where now you have to decide between money and lives?
That's what's happening with the leadership that we have. And not only with the leadership, and this is my point. I deal in facts. I've been taught through SCLC to talk facts. You know why, man? Because when I give a lot of speeches and around the world, when I give facts, I can stand up to anyone. Many times I get challenged on my facts, and I refer people right to where my facts came from, how they can get it. And I tell them, you can talk loud and boisterously to me, but you can't debate me, because I'm not going to say nothing that I don't have the facts. But to answer your question, you need to deal with the scientificness of the facts. And I'm listening to the scientists and the medical experts in terms of COVID-19. Anyone in their right mind should not be listening to someone who's not an expert in this field, or anyone who's not sensitive to the needs of life. And what I discovered, I told my wife the other day, and I sit in the parking lot of many entrepreneurship or businesses just to see the temperament of what's going on with people. There are so many people not wearing masks. There's so many people listening to the nonsensical speaking of politicians and government and federal leaders who are elected. And with them, we have to have them. But you don't listen to nobody in the field of being elected and concerned about their popularity. Who cares about popularity in the polls when people's lives are at stake? And you saying you're running to help those same people, but you telling them to go into the enemy zone and take a chance on dying. What I'm saying, I hold the citizenry of anyone who think that they can listen to and not balance the facts of what they listening to and checking the facts out versus what a person is giving you on their popularity. I fought the individual. I saw on TV.
Don't many of us have to go? Don't many of poor people, many of people we represent, don't they have to go back to work because they have no money? Isn't that the situation they're in?
They don't have to go back. Well, it's on them. You want to go back? You want to go back and die with the possibility of dying? Yeah. Or do you want to be creative and create another avenue or venue to do business? This is going to create a lot of independency. You got to be independent. You can't depend on no job. Depend on the Lord.
That's true.
But he wants you to have common sense. On you depending on the government. And I'm saying, this man, what good is a job when you're dead? And number two, come on now. And number two, what are you thinking about when you got family? My first priority is with God, my wife, my children, and my community, others. What are you doing when you endanger yourself because you got to have a job? And then it's I put it to you like this. It's a permanent solution to a temporary problem. The ultimatum is that you're going to die.
That's true.
It's a permanent solution that you're doing when you're taking a chance to die. And you're very selfish. Now, what am I saying? Join us and let's put pressure on the government. The government should sacrifice at some point. We shouldn't take all the sacrifice. We've been taking care of the government for years. Now it's time for the government to take care of us for 6, 10, maybe 12 months or 12 months or 2 years. We've been taking care of the government all of our lives. And the government doesn't. And the government is rich. The government is rich. But they don't want to spend money on poor folks. 75%. Man, I'm a prognosticator. You know why I say that? My chairman, Dr. Bernard Lafayette, told me. I have been predicting that something was going to happen. Not only in this country, but in the world. I've been talking about the globalization of civilization. Got a book out on it. Am I right, Mazie?
That's true. Yeah.
I have a book out on the globalization of civilization, which is talking about the global village. We can no longer be concerned with just us four and no more. We got a global village out there, which means what? The whole world. And if we collaborate, build relationships, and work together, this thing could have been curtailed. They've been knowing about it since 1960. My Lord. And you know what the problem is? Nobody came down off their egos. Nobody came down off their arrogancy to work out the problem in what? The global village. Because we are in the same community. I don't care if it's China. I don't care if it's Germany. I don't care if it's Russia. And I've been to all these places. I don't care if it's Brazil. And Lord knows they catching it down in Brazil. But I have done my part. France, I've done my Africa, all over Africa. I've done my part to try to come back with the information. They said, Charles, why do you go around the world? I don't care about what's happening in Africa. I don't live in Africa, but I'm listening to you and you telling me I'm from Africa. I said, all of us are from Africa. black, white, green, or blue. That's home base. Well, I don't have nothing to do with China. I don't have nothing to do in Moscow. But the point being is that you have to go visit them. And guess what? If you don't collaborate and work with them on their problems and our problem, and we come together in a conclusion and a resolved matter, that's okay. If you don't do that, they're going to come visit you from China. And guess what they call? Coronavirus, COVID-19. It came to visit us. And that's where we are because of lack of preparation.
Ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to SCLC TV and our president and chairman, Dr. Charles Steele Jr. See you next week. Good night.